The whole secret of life lies in this journey from gross to subtle. The more and more you go towards subtle, many of the existential problems, difficulties, etc. will be removed, and you will start getting connected to your own intrinsic nature more and more. See, when you always think that, how do I get more and more for myself? As a corollary, it automatically follows, how can I destroy others? When you think of only my happiness, it can come only at the expense of others. So you have to always scheme, plan. So that will produce a tremendous sense of dissatisfaction, anguish, anxiety and so on, because there is no end to that. So you have to scheme more and more how to destroy others. The rishis have discovered thousands of years ago what is true life, what it is to live beautifully, what is joy, what is satisfaction, what is fulfillment, everything long ago. And we are running here and there, going to some Western authors, going to something, some conference, some program somewhere. Nothing is necessary. Just go back to the basics. Read some of those beautiful Upanishads. Read the Bhagavad Gita. Even if you don't read so much, just this idea to feel that, we are the nature of that. So even to think about that, what a joy it is, what a sense of comfort it is.
Namaskar. I'm Neha. We are speaking from Vivekananda Institute of Values, Ramakrishna Mission, Gurugram. I have with me none other than Swami Shantatmananda Ji Maharaj. He is the Secretary of Ramakrishna Mission, Gurugram. Namaste, Maharaj.
Namaste.
Under Maharaj's guidance and vision, a lot of value education programs are being carried on nationwide. Maharaj, today we are here to have a discussion on a topic, practicing happiness. And I'll ask you a few questions, and I'll start with the basics and ask you a very simple question, that when do you feel the happiest?
Yes. See, the happiness of an individual, it varies according to situations. I think, before we even launch into this discussion about happiness, we should remember two words which are often juxtaposed and used, in each other's place. But there is a distinctive meaning between these two. One is joy and the other is happiness. So, oftentimes I am joyful when I help others, when I do something for someone else, when I'm able to meditate very deeply, when I feel very deeply devotional on a particular day. Maybe it's the Tithi Puja day of Sri Ma or Thakur or Swami Ji. I'm happy when somebody says something good about me or gives me a gift. That's it. So happiness is something which is largely dependent on external aids, like gifts, something given. It's more gross, physical, and so on. So they trigger a feeling of some satisfaction, some enjoyment, some fulfillment. But joy is something far deeper, inner, and often does not need anything external. So obviously, I feel joyful on certain occasions, particularly when I'm able to solve somebody's problem and I'm able to help someone else and all that. I also feel very joyful, happy, perhaps you can also add, when on certain occasions, like sacred occasions, sacred place, or when I'm able to really meditate very deeply or practice my devotional aspects of life, etc.
So Maharaj, should we wait for these moments to arise, or is there something we can practice to generate the joy within?
Yeah. See, all this is linked to the Upanishadic idea We are of the nature of Satchit Ananda. Existence, knowledge, bliss is our real nature. So, actually, it's even more than that. You are not even of the nature of joy. You are joyful itself. You are yourself joy. It's not that you are somebody who is having the quality of being joyful. The Upanishads go that far. So if you bring it a little, you can say that this nature of being joyful is very intrinsic to us. Only thing is, because we forget it, we don't remember it, we often suffer, we lament in grief and sorrow and so on and so forth. But if only we become aware of our real nature, we'll be ever joyful. So all the practices, sadhanas, etc., which the Shastras or the Upanishads speak of, they're all is to somehow get linked to that ultimate inner joy, which is intrinsic to every person.
Okay. So, Maharaj, since you practice, you're in a environment where these ideas are supported and you've been, living these ideas all this while. A common man who is doing a, hard work's duty in the day and, waits for maybe a holiday or some birthday or anniversary to arise to experience that little joy or happiness, as you call, happiness, as you say, to feel that. What can that person do a little bit in his or her day to day so that this joy comes from within for them?
Yeah. See, I would say, Neha, in essence, the whole secret of life lies in this journey from gross to subtle. The more and more you go towards subtle, many of the existential problems, difficulties, etc. will be removed, and you will start getting connected to your own intrinsic nature more and more. Then joy would well up from within. It won't depend on any external aid or circumstance, etc. All these, we do what you do for birthday or for a party or some gift or something. These are all very superficial and surface level. You may eat in a 7-star hotel, but 2 hours later, the stomach will not say you have taken 10,000 rupees worth of food. Now for 1 month, you will not eat anything. Will it listen?
No.
So, immediately it will all go away in no time. So, of course, these are all part of life. But then, wherever one might be, one has to cultivate this, going inward. The journey from gross to subtle, one has to attempt, one has to learn, one has to practice. Then only one can experience that joy. 2 examples I can give you. There is a very famous story which is often quoted from our Shastras. Probably there was a monk, a brahmachari, was a great tapasvi. So he was walking in the streets, was going for bhiksha or alms, when a bird from above dirtied him. He just looked up and the bird was burnt to ashes. Then he went to the town to ask for alms. And in a house, that lady said, "Oh brahmachari, please wait." So he became very angry. "I'm such a tapasvi. Why is she making me wait?" Immediately the answer came from inside. "Don't think I'm a bird. You can't burn me. I'm serving my husband. Then I will come and attend to you." She came and attended to him. By the time, he was so much overwhelmed by her powers, how she could read his mind from within the house. Then she said, "You go to such and such place. There's a person who is selling meat. You learn from him." He was so shocked. "I'm brahmachari, I have to learn from a meat seller." He went and that man made him wait because he had to settle the customers' dues. He had to sell meat to some more people. He was cutting all that and selling. And then he said, "You come with me." He went and he saw both his parents were totally blind. He was taking them on his shoulders on a bamboo what you call as the one where you can carry, people. And he was carrying them, he took them to the river, bathed them, brought them back, clothed them, fed them. And then sat and discussed with this brahmachari. He talked of the highest knowledge of the scriptures. So then he understood it's not what we do externally, whatever might be our situation in life, one might be anything, but that inner joy, etc., they're all totally different. Similarly, in recent times, you must have heard about a great Advaita Jnani called Nisargadatta Maharaj.
Yes, in
He was
Mumbai.
probably one of the crowded streets of Mumbai. He was running a small shop. So it is not restricted to someone in a forest or a monastery or anything. In fact, sometimes it may be far away from such people because quite often they assume that we have already got it, even when they are quite far away. So it can give you a sense of complacency, a feeling that we have got it. No, it's not that. So that would reflect. The moment you get it, the moment you elevate yourself to that kind of a life, then your very being would inspire people. You'll be full of exuberance, that joy that's of a totally different nature. That's what, when you read the life of Sri Ramakrishna, etc., it was always joyful, always joyful. A person who was so physically, sick, you can say, had constant stomach trouble and all that, and he passed away within 50 years. But what a month of joy it was, his very presence, the very atmosphere he was, it would really reverberate with that kind of joyful atmosphere. So it does not depend upon external situations like that. But I also understand, supposing we are in a very adverse situation, surrounded by so much of sorrow and suffering, people are not treating us properly, we are being hurt every moment, and there are rude exchanges, words and all that. Might be, such situation can work in both ways. In some cases, people may feel fully put down and they may succumb to the circumstances and become part of that, or it can generate a tremendous sense of resilience and a determination to find the truth and find out what is real joy. It can work both ways. So if you're an aspirant, see, that's what, once we know even very rudimentarily, fundamentally, superficially, at a very outer layers level, intellectually, the truth, one should really start practicing, striving, and get down to that. Then one can insulate oneself completely from all that happens in the external world and constantly live a life of joy. The point is, they don't have to, such joyful people, they don't have to jump about, show and dance and this and that. They are just quiet. But inwardly, they're always in that condition, so that nothing in the external world touches them.
So unnecessary excitement need not be joy. And I think when we read it, Sri Ramakrishna's Kathamrita, the joy gets translated into us also, even while reading those songs.
Beauty, that's it. That's it.
Yeah.
That is the very real effect of such company, such people, such words.
Anush, another question I have is there a relationship between acts of kindness, compassion, and even service with feeling happy within?
Yes, definitely. Definitely. See, what happens when there are several, maybe at least 2-3 approaches to this. When we serve others, then when you feel that you are serving the Lord Himself, as Sri Ramakrishna used to say, Shiv Gyan Se Jeev Seva, looking upon human beings, man or woman, as veritable manifestation of God, there is a joy within that you are serving the Lord Himself or His creation, if you come down a little. So that would definitely produce a sense of joy. And then somewhere, when you do it with utmost sincerity and with such honesty, some kind of an inner connect happens between the person served and the person who is serving. And then that sense of oneness, where all that supreme Brahman consciousness, that triggers that kind of a happiness within. Because somewhere, then it gets connected to the idea that we are of the nature of Sachit Ananda Swarup. Because quite often, when you serve, you don't really even think or cogitate, oh, this is this, oh, I am serving. No, like that. It happens very spontaneously. When you do it without any kind of return in view, that's what Swamiji laid so much emphasis on Nishkam Karma. When you do it with an absolute sense of service, selfless service, without expecting anything, not even an acknowledgement, then somewhere within it triggers, it gets linked to that higher idea, and that produces, because quite often we don't even understand it is so. But anyone who has served would always feel, and once you do it, you're always tempted to do it again and again, because that experience is something unforgettable. That's why you find that those who start helping others, they go on and on and on to such an extent, quite often they themselves might be even in difficulty, because it has become very much their second nature. They can't think of being without that.
And this is so in contrast to what we generally think, that the more I do for myself, I'll be happier. But it works the other way around, right?
They are not happy at all. See, if you scratch, if you find out, if they are honest, most of the people who live only for themselves, they're constantly in stress, in strain, because they have to constantly scheme. See, when you always think that, how do I get more and more for myself? As a corollary, it automatically follows, how can I destroy others? When you think of only my happiness, it can come only at the expense of others. So you have to always scheme, plan. So that will produce a tremendous sense of dissatisfaction, anguish, anxiety, and so on, because there is no end to that. So you have to scheme more and more how to destroy others. So how can that lead to, it can all only lead to something very, very superficial, temporary. What do such people do? I don't want to name anybody here. I'm not speaking of any particular community or anything like that. Those who are very mightily rich, and quite often they're becoming riches through very questionable means. They just take it out, go somewhere, spend madly, lavishly, such extravagance, just meaninglessly, and the tremendous physical exhibition. They think they are not that. Even then, even when it was on, they have started planning how to go back. Who are the people to be destroyed next? Because, I'm concentrating how I can be happy. I can be happy. That means how I can destroy others or spoil others. So obviously they can't be happy at all. See, quite often we go to the school programs. I often ask children, supposing your mother has prepared your most favorable dish and she has filled your tiffin box and given to you. Well, you can go to a secret corner and eat it all by yourself. You'll be happy. Supposing you share it with some of your friends, which would give you more happiness? Invariably, the children would say, no sharing it with friends.
Children in their innocence know that this is the road to happiness. Okay, Maharaj, a practical sort of a question which we can apply. Is there a way to cheer myself up when my circumstances are pulling me down? Is there something I can use?
That's what. See, that's why again and again we must go back to our scriptures. See, I feel so sorry, we in India have such a rich heritage, such treasures. The rishis have discovered thousands of years ago what is true life, what it is to live beautifully, what is joy, what is satisfaction, what is fulfillment, everything long ago. And we are running here and there, going to some Western authors, there, going to something, some conference, some program somewhere. Nothing is necessary. Just go back to the basics. Read some of those beautiful Upanishads. Read the Bhagavad Gita. Even if you don't read so much, just this idea to feel that, we are the nature of that. You might not have even read much. Even the statement someone makes to you. See, your basic nature, yeah, you are that Sachit Ananda Swarup. So even to think about that, no, what a joy it is, what a sense of comfort it is. When they say that you are that, even that assertion gives you a tremendous sense of strength and confidence. Yes, I might not know the details. I might not have read the Upanishads. I may not have realized it as such. But intellectually, even I assume that proposition to be true. How wonderful my life would be if only I can get to the truth of it or to the bottom of it. So that way, one has to cultivate all those ideas, try to read some of those ideas, books from books which are really very elaborate descriptions of all those states and all that. And then very easy, the Bhagavad Gita is a very beautiful companion for life. So if you read that, then you will clearly understand what gives you. So these things can happen, these difficulties can come, but they are not intrinsic to us, they are external to us. The first understanding is, all the difficulties, problems, sorrow, suffering, etc. We all assume they are intrinsic to it. No, they are external to us.
Yeah.
So once we understand that, then your life journey starts in a different direction, and slowly one can see all these things are more easily said than done. It's not that from today we are going to be totally transformed. But once we get hold of an idea, the way forward or the way for redemption is to again and again get back to those ideas, get back to them, again and again think about them, talk to people who know, get access to such literature, such books. Then slowly you'll be going in that direction. Because again and again, like a cloud covering the sun, circumstance will come, situation will come. But the clouds go away, the sun has to shine, it has to come out. So again, your true nature will sprout, will come out. All that will happen.
Anaj, I've also observed an unhappy state of mind that stops me or, pulls me back from striving towards my goals.
Yeah.
So it's also important that we cultivate internal happiness so that my goal is not harmed,
Yes.
right?
That's what constantly we must remember at not only driven by circumstances, even at other times also, every now and then to remember we are that. That assertion. And that famous, that Upanishadic story, Madalasa, how she brought up the children. Tattvamasi Shvetaketu. So from
When they
birth,
were in the cradle.
yeah. So obviously we are all not blessed with that kind of a upbringing. But then having known, having heard, every now and then, not driven by any problem or difficulty or anything. Every day, some 10 minutes, 15 minutes when we are alone, supposing we think of our real nature, assert to ourselves, so that it becomes more and more firmly embedded in our heart. Otherwise, no, suddenly when we are overwhelmed with circumstances, these things might take to flight. They may not come to the surface. But supposing we very consciously cultivate these kind of ideas, what would happen then? When something happens also, immediately we get connected to that rather than to what is happening outside. So, no, I know the truth. I can't be cheated. That's that. So, okay, it will come, it will go. Somebody will be born, someone might die, someone would get sick, somebody would get cured. All that. See, that doesn't mean that we have to be irresponsible or not to attend to anything. Everything you will attend to. But deep within, you are completely what you call insulated by that, so that nobody can penetrate that insulation and really harm you or make you unhappy or anything. It's okay. Someone might be very hurtful, someone might be very rude, someone might cheat you, someone might be most ungrateful. You just laugh at it. Oh, it's okay. It's all play. It all happens. But deep within, am that. I'm not going to give up or compromise my joyful nature for a small little thing that's happening outside with which I have no relation.
So coming to the end of the discussion, Maharaj, there's one word, if a few words you can leave us with. What does happiness really mean? How do I define happiness for myself?
Yeah. So that's why we should go back to that word to say, how can I be really joyful? You cannot be very happy because happiness would also mean unhappiness. Have you heard anyone using the word unjoyful? No. Joyful is joyful, whereas happiness can be unhappiness. So when they do this time, they might give a very beautiful birthday gift. Next birthday, the person closest to you might forget even. So that will produce the opposite effect. So external world, all these things keep going on. But joyful is how to connect to my real nature. How to become really aware, who am I in a true sense. That is what would really launch me into the journey of discovering my joyful nature, which is intrinsic to you.
Practicing going from gross to subtle is the...
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you so much, Maharaj, for your
Thank you.
time.
Namaskar.
Thank you, everyone, for being a part of this discussion. Namaste.
Namaste.